Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of the Carla Bozulich record. Boy, God, I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly. Carla is a few decades deep into her career right now, which is filled with solo albums, various side projects, as well as collaborations with everyone from Nels Cline to Shoo Shoo to even Lydia Lunch. So, you know she's just farting out rainbows in every direction. Typically, she dabbles in a lot of folk and country rock, as well as noise, alternative rock, experimental music. She's putting out this latest record of hers via Constellation Records, and musically she manages to blend together all of these genres that I said she has worked with previously. Boy is a bit like a cross between the outright experimentation and slight avant-gardism of records and projects like Evangelista, brought together with the more rootsy, more traditional sounds and songwriting styles of her solo debut, Red-Headed Stranger, in 2003. There's actually a song title on this record that mirrors an album title from 2004, from a record that she put out called I'm Gonna Stop Killing. Now, the chord progressions on these tracks, the lyrics, the way these stories are told, some of the melodies that are delivered in these tracks too, a lot of it just lives, breathes the style of a backwoods country folk or blues song. But these sounds are just darkened to a significant degree. It's like all of a sudden we have turned from going on a daytime stroll through the forest to a muddy nocturnal trudge through a foggy swamp. The instrumentation on this record for the most part is really slow. It's very much subdued, though there are moments where it all comes together into this mass and creates something loud, though there isn't much on this LP that individually is like super loud or blaring or really aggressive. Even Carla's vocals themselves are not quite as in your face as they were on projects like Evangelista. She isn't really screaming or shrieking on this record. Instead, on numerous tracks here, Carla has this stone-faced intensity that comes with the kind of drama that is really eerie, kind of haunting, kind of intimidating. And just the sound of her voice on this record too, it's so weary. It sounds like the vocals are hundreds of years older than the person who's actually singing with them. There are some moments on this record, like Drown to the Light, where the vocals do strain a little bit. That's somewhat of a turn-off for me on this LP, but it doesn't happen too often. But still, even when the vocals are doing just fine, Carla's voice, it's a little much. You know, actually, all the instrumentation, everything about this record is just a little much. And while, you know, I can't say that that's necessarily a bad thing. I do enjoy this record. It does appeal to me. But it does feel like the vocals, as well as the instrumentation on this LP, are driven by this, like, very real, tangible mania. And it's kind of scary. There are scary moments on this record, like when Carla is just very quietly whispering that she wants to fuck up the whole world, or when she's sort of wandering through her thought process as to why she's gonna stop murdering people with shotgun blasts to the head on the track Gonna Stop Killing, or when she is going through the very esoteric and cryptic description of what is quite possibly a very surly and sexual situation on the track Danceland. Not only are a lot of the lyrics on this record a really dark and morbid and disturbing trip, but just Carla's delivery, man, she just sounds so drained. And there are other moments here where it seems like she's doing spoken word but also singing simultaneously. Just the lines are blurred so much. She's on the border of singing or on the border of speaking. You know, this entire record is on the border of something. The border of insanity, the border of falling apart, the border of maybe being composed and kind of well put together. It's hard to describe. I mean, there is some beautiful melodic and instrumental detail in these songs. There are some very interesting lyrics. I mean, obviously a lot of effort went into these tracks, but there's something very unique and off-putting with how disheveled a lot of the performances on this record sound, with all these strung out vocals, with background vocals that barely line up with them, all these very loosely played drums and guitars. Like, all the instrumentation on this record is wasted and trying to progress itself through one of the worst nightmares imaginable. That is exactly what the first track on this entire LP sounds like, with these very sparse but hard-hitting drums, this bass that is just grinding and just really ugly and very sparse, just only like a few notes of bass, and these lyrics and this vocal delivery that it just kind of feels like this person is coming up to me and hitting on me and trying to get me in their Cadillac. And this track progresses into what I do not know. All of a sudden these electric piano keys hit and it seems like all of the instrumentation loses its composure. I wouldn't say it's like super ferocious or like making a whole ton of noise by being ultra aggressive. It's just like nothing is like lining up. It's just so weird. It's like all of a sudden my eyes have blurred over and I can no longer tell what's going on, even though I am clearly picking out keys, drums, bass, and Carla's voice just like crazily backstroking through this mix. The sound of the instrumentation on this thing is really woozy. It's freakish. It's disorienting. And a lot of the time, tracks on here, including this one, are just way too insane and just out there to even string together like a decent or coherent ending. You know, a lot of the finishes on this record are a little abrupt. They're sort of sudden. I mean, I think this first song didn't just need a stronger ending, but maybe even like an entire third act. However, there are only maybe a few tracks on this record where these abrupt endings really ruin the momentum and ruin my enjoyment of the song, like What Is It Baby and Drowned in the Light. I mean, I guess if all the songs on this record were really cleanly written and had concise beginnings and endings, it would make the really disheveled sound and look of the instrumentation sort of like a big fat lie. Carla really puts together a singer-songwriter record that is challenging, it's obtuse, and it is non-traditional from head to toe. If there's any clear, logical objective to what she's doing on this LP, it's maybe to keep you guessing, especially with the closing track on here, number X. It's this weird, droning, subtle instrumental with these beautiful guitar melodies being played throughout, and then all of a sudden Carla comes in the final few moments of the song just to deliver a few lines of lyrics and the track just finishes. Don't blow me out before I finish burning. I've settled into a life of learning. Wouldn't it be fine if at checkout time I was doing what I'm doing right now? And with this really poetic nod toward death, I'm assuming, the album just stops. And it's a really chilling moment on the record. It's a really chilling finish. It's not an anticlimactic finish, it's a chilling finish. You know, rarely on this record does Carla leave me with a really catchy song, but she always leaves me with a really weird and strong impression. Like on the industrially flavored track One Hard Man, which has all these mechanical, just banging and clanging drum beats. There are all these ugly noises playing against one another, and Carla's vocals go absolutely twisted. Insane, to the point where her lyrics basically devolve into just, you know, a very quick utterances of no, 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 no. I just want to scream listening to this track. It just gets more and more intense as I listen to it. And, you know, I just want to like, just yell, Carla! Are you okay? Especially with lyrics on this thing saying that that there are veins with railroad tracks on them, or, you know, metaphorically comparing railroad tracks to veins, vice versa, so on and so forth. Also, the imagery of like the hands melting. I get a lot of the same reactions out of the track Deeper Than the Well, which is maybe one of the most frightening tracks on this entire record. However, Carla does manage to transmit some legitimately beautiful moments, melodies, expressions through this sonic torture garden, like the very slowly galloping beat and the bluesy electronic piano keys and the very nice soft bass guitar on the track Lazy Crossbones, which is maybe the most composed song on this entire record in terms of listenability and cohesion of the instrumentation. But there's still a lot of weird sound play going on in the background, and of course the song just gets stranger and stranger as it continues. You know, this coherence does not last very long. There's also a few really beautiful string crescendos on this LP, and there's the song Danceland as well, which to me is just like a really weird, rusted merry-go-round of a song where I just feel like I'm being brought through this very soulful, very dark, but also kind of blissful and relaxing set of sounds. I just feel really entranced by what goes on with this track. Just a lot of different emotions hitting me on this one. You know, this is a really great freaking record. It's a really enjoyable record, and not one that I think may be enjoyable to you or many other people upon first listen. I mean, you know, Lord knows that I was not loving my initial listens to this record outside of like a few tracks. And then as I was just revisiting it more and more, I just realized what a freaking complex and weird onion this record is. You know, not that on the surface or at first it's going to appeal to you as being overly simple or plain. There's just a lot going on, and there's just a lot that doesn't, like I said earlier, line up. You know, this record is really just everything is just so messy and intentionally just like put out of place. And the fact that everything isn't assembled really tightly kind of distracts away from the fact that there is a ton of detail in this record, and some beautiful melodies too, and some really clever and vivid lyrical imagery. While I think Boy might not go down as one of the more well-known records of this year, it's certainly going to be one of my favorites in terms of just, man, the emotional power of so many songs on this thing, and just the oddness of this record really does make it at least one of my most unique musical experiences of 2014 so far. I'm feeling a strong 8 on this thing. Transition, if you've given this record a listen, what did you think of it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Why? What do you think I should review next? And that's it. Carla, Boy, music, forever.